Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. Amen.
I ask that you keep your distance from me in Jerusalem these next few days.
Why?
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
And two, I was like in a kind of better place, and I was worried about like having to get back to that dark place.
Side of them, we're going to see things that we've never seen.
Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. Amen.
Jonathan Roumie breaks down during the Last Supper scene, and the entire cast goes completely silent. This actually happened on the Last Supper set, in front of everyone. Cameras were rolling. The crew was watching. But something in Roumie just stopped. He looked across the table. His lips moved, but no words came out. Tears welled up in his eyes.
Rabbi.
At first, people thought he had forgotten his lines. But that wasn't it. Something else was happening. Something that left everyone frozen. What could cause an actor, especially one who's done this for years, to break down like that? What really cracked open in that moment?
Well, I'm not playing Jesus in any of those other roles, so, you know, obviously playing Jesus requires a lot of deep thought and consideration given who he was and what he means to so many people around the world, including myself as a Christian. And I think there's a certain reverence that I have for the character. There's an endless supply of complexity with Jesus. I mean, he's probably, he's the most difficult character I will ever play. I think any actor.
Season 5 of The Chosen focuses on the hardest moments of Jesus' life, the Holy Week. That includes the Last Supper, the betrayal, and the agony in Gethsemane. These aren't just scenes with deep meaning. They are the heart of the entire gospel. And according to Jonathan Roumie, these were by far the most challenging scenes he's ever filmed.
I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away.
Before shooting The Last Supper, Roumie didn't just rehearse lines. He brought his spiritual director to set. He even attended Mass earlier that day. Not because he had to, but he needed to be spiritually ready. That tells you that this wasn't acting, it was devotion.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, this season 5 will show the world colors and emotions of Jesus that nobody's really tried to capture on film before. Nobody's gone to the depths of the interpersonal relationships between Christ and the Pharisees, the authorities, the disciples. Nobody's explored this in the way that we're exploring it. And so, as the human side of him, we're going to see things that we've never seen before. And I'm really proud of that because it's I think, giving a much more complete and relatable portrait of who Jesus as the man could have.
One Catholic outlet described it perfectly. For him, it was living out liturgy. That stuck with me, because when I read that, I understood Jonathan wasn't just playing Jesus. He was trying to carry him, scene after scene, emotion after emotion, and that can wear a person down, especially when the scene is about betrayal, farewell, and sacrifice. So what happens when you prepare your heart for something sacred, but your body and emotions still can't handle it? What happens when spiritual prep meets human breaking point?
We ready for this?
Yes.
No. Ready for what?
Whatever is about to happen.
Only one way to find out.
Can we define ready?
Does it matter whether we are ready or not?
Matthew, you've changed. Who cares if we're ready?
I don't know, Philip. It would be nice to know what we're talking about here.
What's the prevailing theory?
The scene had started just like any other. The crew was in position. Cameras were set. The table was lit. Jonathan began his lines without a problem. But then something happened. He was supposed to say a key line, something Jesus said that night. But the words wouldn't come. His lips trembled. His chest rose and fell, trying to hold it in. But nothing came out. At first, people thought it was a mistake. Maybe he lost his place. Maybe he needed a minute. But the look in his eyes said otherwise. This wasn't just acting, it was something real.
Rabbi, what are you smiling at? It's nothing. It's just that,
In later interviews, Roumie admitted that the emotional weight of these scenes, especially the Last Supper and Gethsemane, hit him like nothing else. He said season 5 broke him in a way he hadn't felt before. We've seen actors cry before. We've seen breakdowns on camera. But this wasn't a performance. This was a personal affair happening. It brings to mind other actors who lost at mid-scene, like Maureen O'Hara breaking down in The Quiet Man. But Roumie's moment wasn't just emotional. So is this collapse just exhaustion? Or did something sacred enter that room?
In every moment that he's in, he was probably the most present person to walk the earth. And so you have to have that. And then it's about timing and picking those moments where, those opportunities where the sadness or the sorrow, which I feel is kind of a real vivid descriptor of the overall arc of season 5, specifically for Jesus, and for a number of other characters as well. But having a moment where the sorrow can kind of rise a little more to the surface.
Usually on a film set, when something goes off script, someone yells cut. The director steps in, the actors reset, and everything starts over like clockwork. That's how production works. But on the day they filmed the Last Supper scene, that rhythm broke. When Jonathan Roumie fell silent mid-scene, something shifted in the room. He didn't miss a line. He didn't forget. His voice just cracked, then stopped, and suddenly nobody knew what to do. No one moved or said a word. Even Dallas Jenkins, who's always ready to give direction, just watched. The cameras kept rolling, but it felt like time didn't. That stillness wasn't awkward. It was reverent. Crew members who've spent their lives watching actors cry and scream and perform just stood there.
To play hurt, you can act. You can play, and you can trust the things that your co-stars are giving you, and yeah, that's probably the biggest change for me.
Yeah, I think for me, from season 1, I was kind of not knowing the world or anything that I was getting into, so I always wanted to do my best or try to do my best. And in the subsequent seasons, as Matthew got stronger and found his own path, so did I, Paris, and I feel more confident and just able to be free. And when you have other co-stars that you just trust, I remember when we...
Not long after, fans started speculating online. Someone said a crew member described it as holy ground. And the truth is, it didn't feel like a regular filming day. It felt like something was present that was not in the script. When pretend moments become real enough to stop professionals in their tracks, you have to wonder what just broke through. If even those behind the scenes hesitated to breathe, what must have been happening at that table? When the scene finally ended, no one clapped. There wasn't the usual wave of laughter or sighs of relief. Instead, the room stayed heavy. Some of the cast were crying quietly. Others sat in silence, not moving, like they didn't want to break whatever had just happened. A few walked away slowly, heads down, saying nothing.
That feel that we had has kind of, even though the infrastructure around us has kind of been upgraded, inside you wouldn't tell the difference. We do still feel like we're on that little mom and pop style show. And then, yeah, that obviously having that relationship with each other off screen lends to the relationship that we have on screen.
It's kind of crazy because we have been doing this for years now. And so at a certain point you show up and you go, it's a part of us. It really is. These characters are a part of us. And so some of the times you just show up and you're kind of ready to go because
Later, one cast member admitted they didn't want to speak to anyone after that take. They felt like talking would ruin something sacred. That kind of reaction doesn't come from a good performance. It comes from an encounter. And the strange thing is, people watching from home felt it too. On TikTok, in fan forums, in YouTube comment sections, the same feeling kept surfacing. Someone wrote that they felt something stirred deep in their chest. Another said it didn't feel like acting, but like a real spiritual moment caught on camera. One fan on Reddit said, "This is what I love about it. The show is faithful to the source material and does a wonderful job coloring in the details that are not in the Bible. Before The Chosen, the apostles were all just generic faces at the Last Supper to me. I love how the show makes them into real human beings. It's about as biblically and historically accurate as a show like this could possibly be, and it's impressive how it appeals to Catholics as well as Protestants." That kind of response isn't common. Most shows move people because of a great script or emotional music. But this moved people for reasons they couldn't explain.
Poignant and exciting in the episodes. For instance, in episode 2, you get to see Jesus with a whip. I think, in one, I can't remember exactly which episode, if it's the last one of the season. They start to run together after a while, but the episode in which Jesus institutes the Eucharist, I think it's the midpoint of the season, if not closer to the finale, was really meaningful for me personally, being a Catholic and just trying to recreate what that moment might have actually been.
Jonathan Roumie has never been casual about playing Jesus. From the very beginning, he's spoken about the pressure, the weight, and the sense of deep personal unworthiness that haunted him during filming. He didn't just memorize lines and hit his marks. He prayed, fasted, and even brought his spiritual director to the set because he needed someone to walk through the fire with him. And maybe that's why The Last Supper hit him so hard. Maybe it wasn't just a performance. Maybe it was the moment the dam broke. Because when someone carries that much faith, that much pressure, that much hope, all in silence, eventually something spills out.
All of the crucifixion, the 3 weeks we spent in Matera were probably 3 of the hardest weeks in my career, and just as a person of faith, trying to reenact Christ's passion with a certain degree of authenticity and gravitas and reality. It's not something that I would choose to do a second time. I would willingly do it if I had to do it, but it took everything we had.
What if that breakdown wasn't weakness, but devotion bursting through? Actors have broken down on set before. Joaquin Phoenix reportedly broke down filming scenes in Come On, Come On. Daniel Day-Lewis has vanished into roles so completely that he struggled to return to himself. These are stories of physical toll, psychological collapse, and a method gone too far. But what happened to Roumie doesn't fit into that mold. This wasn't about exhaustion or blurred identities. This was something heavier. It felt like a priest during confession, burdened by the emotion of what he's hearing, yet still needing to carry it with grace. The Last Supper isn't just a dramatic scene. It's a moment loaded with betrayal, sorrow, and divine mystery. For someone like Roumie, who enters the role prayerfully, that emotional and spiritual collision must have landed hard. There were whispers from other cast members too. One mentioned the air felt different that day. Another said it didn't feel like acting anymore. And Dallas Jenkins himself has said some season 5 scenes left the entire set stunned.
And when we were filming it, I thought, is this a departure from The Chosen? Meaning that with all, like you said, the espionage, the intensity, the size, the scope, the scale of it, we're known for, and I think we're good at, intimacy. We take these big epic stories and we make them actually smaller and more personal. I shouldn't say we make them. I think we reveal them to be the relational and intimate stories that they actually are. But this season, you're forced to tell the story of the turning of the tables and the triumphal entry and the Last Supper and the betrayal of Judas on a big palette, right? But I've been very grateful to see the audience response, especially to the first.
It was a crossroads. Faith, personal memory, performance, and maybe even God himself, all intersecting in one moment of silence. So if we rewound the timeline and traced every decision, every prayer, every sleepless night, was this breakdown always coming? So let's circle back to the question that started all this. Jonathan Roumie breaks down, the entire cast goes silent. But why? Was it just the pressure of the role finally catching up? Was it the buildup of months spent in prayer, in emotional preparation, in surrender? Was it spiritual overspill? Or maybe it was something none of us can explain. Because moments like this don't happen often. Not on TV sets, not in controlled environments, not when dozens of people are watching and cameras are rolling. Yet, here it was, and completely unscripted. Maybe it was Roumie's devotion showing. Or maybe a sacred being flooded that set for a single breath, and everyone felt it. I don't believe this was just a performance. I believe we witnessed an encounter. One that broke through the lights, the cameras, the rehearsals, and left silence in its place. What do you think happened? Drop it in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious.